What's up, everyone? This is RJ Game News USA here, back today with another video. And today we are going to go over the review scores for Project Hail Mary. Yeah, this movie doesn't come out till Friday, March 20th. However, reviewers have gotten early reviews in. The embargo is really soft on this. They're really confident in the movie. So we're going to go over these review scores. It's got a 94% overall on Rotten Tomatoes at the time of this recording after 134 reviews. Make no mistake about it, with that much review interest, this is going to be one of the best-selling movies this year, and definitely a movie that we're going to be discussing, possibly in the Movie of the Year category. So if you like this kind of content and you support independent media, like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already. And let's try to break this down. We're going to read basically the first page of Rotten Tomatoes and get a general idea of what people are saying and thinking about Project Hail Mary and whether or not it's a film you want to go see. So, we have Lewis Sky, who gives it a fresh tomato. Says, if you love space, Project Hail Mary is not to be missed. It's beautiful and majestic, but it's also got a centric character who you can't stop watching. Beyond the sights and sounds, what I loved about this film was the friendship between Grace and Rocky. And we have another fresh tomato from Diago Battle, who says, perhaps it's too pretentious as a product for mass consumption, or too banal as a critique of the state of affairs, but Project Hail Mary is a spectacular film in the best sense of the word. And we have a rare Rotten Tomato here from Lee Lai, who says, the more interesting question around racial representation is what Project Hail Mary does with its white male lead. Holy shit! Are you fucking kidding me? We got someone who's given a woke review to this movie. Make no mistake about it. This is an absolute woke ass review by Lee Lai that should be discounted. Bringing race into this makes no sense whatsoever, and it really pisses me off, actually. Mark Kaiser, with a fresh tomato, says, direct the hell out of this movie, immersing us in visuals so breathtaking that whatever tonal faults it may have, it's easily forgiven. Patrick Beatty, with a fresh tomato, says Project Hail Mary is a crowd-pleasing space adventure that brings Spielberg levels of heart and charm. And we have a fresh tomato from Jonathan Lycadin, who says it's the kind of film you want to see over and over again, from one year to the next, and then generationally into the far future. That's rare to say. Anthony Morris, with the fresh tomato, says what this does have in spades is problem solving, and has with the Martian that turns out to be enough. Whatever. Fresh tomato from Avi Offer, who says, a sugar-coated and harmless sci-fi adventure that's more whimsical and funny than moving, powerful or thrilling. Ryan Gosling shines with charisma and provides a modicum of poignancy that can't be found within the screenplay. Alright, get ready, guys. We've got another Rotten Tomato. Very rare. But a Rotten Tomato here from Simone Foster, who says, Project Hail Mary colors in a vast effects canvas, but offers little more than intellectual infanticism. With Astronaut Ken as our self-taught pilot, it may be the dumbest deep space adventure ever made. Whoa, buddy! That is a hot take right there from what I've seen so far. Yeah. We have a fresh tomato from Alexandria Heller Nicholas, who says, if you had told me that the feel-good movie in the otherwise suffocating bleakness of early 2026 would be Ken meets geophod in space, I would not have believed you. And yet here we are. Project Hail Mary is all of those things and so much more. I love how, though, that we got to point out how shitty the world is in the first instance of this review. Well, it literally is irrelevant to the movie. Okay, we all know the world is crap. Dave Lee with a fresh tomato, who says a good addition to the science fact spacey movie, sad boy in space genre that I've been a big fan of in the last decade or so. I gotta be honest, guys. I feel like I'm almost forced to just watch this movie because of how good the Rotten Tomatoes percentage is. My excitement level is not all that excited for this movie. Like, I usually do like some sci-fi, but I'm more into horror, I'm more into comedy, I'm more into stuff like that. And I feel like this movie just feels like mainstream McGee. You know what I mean? I just feel like there's no edge here that makes me go, oh God, I gotta see, you know what I mean? And it's 2.5 hours. And so I'm like, oh, do I have to see this? I don't know. And to be completely honest with you, sometimes the reviewers can review a movie really high and then it sucks. It just like sometimes they review a movie low and then I like it. So, but I'm only reporting what they're saying. Valerie Colfin with a fresh tomato says, an uplifting adventure about learning you really do have the right stuff, including breathtaking IMAX imagery. The big-hearted sci-fi story hinges on an enriching interstellar friendship that doesn't hit one false note. Samuel Leggett with a fresh tomato says, Project Hail Mary is a visually immersive sci-fi masterpiece. Blends the Martian interstellar uplifting story of humanity's preservation. Raw, impeccable performance from Ryan Gosling. Lord and Miller crafted a harsh, precise, absolute must-watch. We have a fresh tomato from Nestor Bentacor, who says, a perfect crowd pleaser that feels both intimate and epic. In a time when people need good reasons to go to the movies, this is the right stuff. You know, there's a lot of good movies this year. A fresh tomato from Alan Johnson, who says it's a masterpiece of a family popcorn movie with eye-popping handcrafted production design and outstanding creature design and puppetry work. We have a fresh tomato from Hillary White, who says, and given that it's a hard sci-fi, there's something especially about how this new film aligns with inspiration and formula. Brains and fun, humor and high stakes in exciting ratios so big that screen gold is alchemized before us. We have a rare Rotten Tomato here that says the stakes that never fully materialize, and because the tone remains so jocular, nothing ever feels especially problematic nor important for your protagonist. That is what I worry about so much. Like, whereas Interstellar always felt like it would be too depressing to ever enjoy, this movie feels like it's too cheerful to ever enjoy, if that makes sense. There should be more existential dread going on, and I don't get that from the trailer. I don't feel that. I don't feel any existential dread. I feel like this is just Ryan Gosling in space having a good old hootin' time. Julian Roman with a fresh tomato says, striking visual effects and an endearing lead performance from Ryan Gosling propel Project Hail Mary into early contention for one of the year's best films. You know, I think if he was there with a woman, like it was The Notebook or something, might have worked better. Seriously. Vincent Machini with a fresh tomato says, grandiose, fully realized, and affectingly profound, and yet also occasionally cloying. A movie that this gorgeous should not have a line like, so I met an alien. Peter Gray, with a fresh tomato, this will be our last review, says the film is thrilling, funny, and unexpectedly moving. It's the kind of big, imaginative cinema that reminds us why we go to the movies in the first place. And yeah, so, we've had a lot of these movies come out lately, whatever, that, they're getting high scores on Rotten Tomatoes, and a lot of them are, really good experience for in theater. So, for example, Undertone is able to utilize audio really well because they're in a theater. This movie here is going to utilize visuals very well because they're in a theater. And so, I can't sit here and recommend, guys, just wait for it to come on DVD. I also can't fully recommend to go watch it because I don't feel like really watching it myself, to be completely honest with you. I feel like 2.5 hours is a lot of time to ask of me. And, despite the high review scores, there's nothing that personally hooked me. Take the review scores out of it. I have a friend who is begging me to go see it. But if you take the review scores out of it and you just watch the trailer, there's nothing here that I saw ever that was fuck, I gotta go see this. And there's I'm not that picky. There's 18 fucking movies on my watch list for this year. You know what I mean? But it's but at the same time, am I missing something? Is there gonna be something here that's deeper than what I'm noticing that is oh shit, I'm so glad I saw this movie. So this is a toughie. I just hope you all can make a decision yourself whether or not it's a movie you want to see. And if you plan on seeing Project Hail Mary, let me know in the comments below. But until next time, this is RJ signing out. Have a good one.